God, it took me a long time to get my hands on this ship. No one wanted to sell it in the exchange this time around. Greetings and welcome to Shadowstar. Welcome to the Star Trek Online Stats Review video. If you're more interested in the visual review, that will be linked below and at the very end of this video in the outcard. Now, allow me to introduce you to, by Star Trek Online's classification, the Janeway-Command science vessel, an R&D promotional ship that cost me 1.5 billion to get my hands on, and is quite literally a surprise, and not for the reasons you may be thinking. In this stats review, we'll be going first over a very quick look at what you can do to customize the ship. And yes, I do mean quick. But then we'll go into the stats. And this will be a longer segment than normal because there's a lot to unpack with this ship. As well as we'll then take the ship into action to see how well she does. Now, with all things to be considered... and please keep in mind that this is a very expensive ship to get your hands on. I will just note now, I may have a little bit of anti to the vessel due to Star Trek Online not making this a Zen ship, but deciding it has to be a promo ship. A warning and signs of things to come with Star Trek Online, I do believe. Let's get into it. Oh, another disclaimer, to those new to the game, don't worry, this is not the norm, and yes, you do not need this vessel to be able to make a great build. This is just a nice little addition that can give you some nice little extras. Speaking of, well, we better get to the stats for that. Not entirely sure what she's doing in there, because to me, the only thing that should be in there should be Zen ships. Okay. So, yes, though she is technically following along the Intrepid line, as she is a Voyager, and, well, she's not an Intrepid class, she's the Voyager class, I think she's in Star Trek Discovery. I'm going to give a bit of defense here, so please don't think I'm going to be fully negative against Cryptic and that. There is a reason why right now you are only seeing the Janeway template, and why you cannot customize this vessel. This is down purely to the fact that if you look carefully on screen, you'll notice that segments are floating about. And yes, they may have been able to program a way of having pylons added in that then stop the segments from floating around, but they've probably set that floating animation as part of the nacelles, which means that would be in permanent action for the nacelles, and they've done it for the saucer as well. The saucer itself is not attached, and although it's a little bit more subtle, you can see the saucer itself is also floating up and down, and a little bit left to right as well. Because of this, they could not segment in having the option of a neck, having the option of pylons, or having the option of using, say, Voyager, the Intrepid classes, hull, nacelles and saucer. It wouldn't work too well, and because the original Intrepid and its counterparts are all designed to have a neck and pylons there, which take the position of certain platings and texturings, you'd notice a very distinct issue in texturing if you suddenly took away the neck and the pylons from those ships. So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. Defense of that, done. Okay, I've defended it. Cryptic, can you be happy with me? I'm not always bashing you, even though I am now going to bash this. Unfortunately, we don't have a special bridge for the ship. I know it's a tiny thing, but you'd thought with a promo ship at least they'd have bothered to give us, considering promo ships can cost anywhere between £200 to £300 on the average trying to get them. I mean, admittedly, some people did have more luck this time around. It would have been nice to see a different bridge. On the upside though, we do have all window types. And we do have a unique hull type, the Janeway hull. It's an interesting texture, I will say. I do approve of the little flares of the darker copper. I think that looks great. And of course, you can fling this across with the Ambassador hull, which makes those gold. Defiant, Galaxy, Intrepid. Intrepid looks damn good on the ship, let's be fair. The NX lot, the Sovereign lot, all the original types, including a TOS fill if you really want a TOS fill on it. 8 and 8B. And of course the Veteran for those that have paid for lifetime membership. It is worth getting, by the way. So, stats. Okay, stats. Now, I'm going to try something new here. I'm actually going to blast through what the stats actually are, and then I'm going to explain what each part really means for the ship, rather than explain as I go. Let me know if you feel like this is more comfortable. So we have a tier 6 science vessel. Yep, science vessel type, with a hull at level 65 of 58,500. Her hull modifier is 1.3. Her shield modifier is 1.1. Turn rate of 14. Impulse modifier 0.22. Inertia rating of 60. She comes with 4 forward weapons and 2 aft, which is unusual. Bonus power settings are +5, and that is to engines. With +15, that is to auxiliary. A secondary deflector. 3 device slots. Her console layout is 4 tactical, 2 engineering, 5 science. And she has a, well, semi-flawed, I'm going to say, Ensign Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Universal with a Miracle Worker specialization, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Science, and finally Commander Science with a Command specialization. She also has some special little gimmicks for her. She has the Battle Cloak of the 32nd Century Federation. Her inspirational abilities, thanks to her being a command vessel. Sensory analysis, as she is a science vessel. Subsystem targeting, again from the science vessel stats. Her Admiralty is 21 engineering, 37 tactical, and 68 science. Well, these stats coming from a promo ship. Okay. I did mention that she has a secondary deflector and 3 device slots. I hope I mentioned that. I feel like I may have just glossed over that. Ooh, you can tell I'm uncomfortable in this format at the moment, can't you? So, okay. What does this actually mean for the vessel, though? First of all, we're talking about a science vessel here. How do science vessels normally stack up? Well, normally they are broadside setup with three forward weapons, 3 aft weapons. They have average to slightly high-end maneuverability and fairly average speed. And they tend to be favouring the science aspect, so shields. It tends to be stronger in shields than hull. Tends to be stronger in the support area, and science DPS than anything else. That's just generally what they're good at. With that being noted, the Janeway is a bit of a black sheep. In a good way, though. In a good way. The last ship I can really think of that she reminds me of is either the Crossfield Spearhead, or, if anyone remembers when the Temple Agent stuff came out. Yep, that long ago now. The Daedalus class. You know, the one with a football for a saucer and a fairy washing up liquid bottle for its hull. Yeah, that ship. Yeah, that ship had a very tactical psi orientation, which is what this ship seems to have. It's a very tactical psi ship. It's going to be amazing when it comes to hybrid builds. And I just realised, I'm so glad I don't have a camera on me, because I just did the Stamets expression. You can tell I like that guy, can't you? So, what really this means for the ship is, first of all, the hull and shield modifier is very unusual. Normally, the hull modifier is swapped with the shield modifier. You'd have stronger shields than the hull. So for a science vessel, this ship isn't going to be as shield tanky as a normal science vessel would be, and you have to keep that in mind if you're a standard science player. However, cruiser players, you're going to have no ends of fun with this, because you're already used to having a superior hull to shields. And yes, although I don't 100% agree with this, hull holds up better than shields, so having a better hull modifier is better than having a better shield modifier. However, as much as this will make this ship a hull tank over shield tank, she does have weaknesses when it comes to hull tanking. Her lack of engineering consoles, for example, and also her weak engineering bridge officer positions is another reason why her hull tank, despite having such a good score in the hull tank, that 1.3, is negated by the sort of Achilles heel to this. Her shield tankiness, though, is reinforced with the 5 science consoles and her overwhelming science bridge officer positions and her secondary deflector. She's still got very high shield tanking capability. Overall, this ship is actually better suited to being a regenerative or a hybrid tank build than she is specialising in shield or hull. So I think we're going to see a lot less hull tanks, a lot less shield tanks with her, and a lot more hybrid shield-esque tanks. They will focus primarily on the shields, I do believe. Thanks to her turn rate and high maneuverability, she has raw DPS potential, because this is coming and, well, complementing the weapons layout. The weapon layout being 4-2, yeah, she still only has 6 weapons like a standard science vessel will have, but by having 4-2, she gives a better options to using a dual beam, or I do believe, I will double check for you in a second, but possibly dual cannon. If she can equip dual cannons, that's going to really amp this ship up in its potential. Yeah, you don't really have the ability to take dual cannons or cannon builds to their peak with this ship, but if she can equip them, that will be a plausible option. But what I really want to focus on is the fact that her beam builds with this vessel is going to be really strong, thanks to the weapon layout complementing this. Yes, you can still go for a broadside build if you want to. Throw 2 Omnis in the back and 3 beams in the front with a torpedo. Have a little bit of fun with that. But personally speaking, this ship has a better characteristic, and that is that psi orientation with her tactical DPS orientation. Combining these two together, the science side of the ship, she's a science vessel. I don't need to say it. She's going to be good at anything to do with support. However, she's actually extremely good at the science DPS aspect as well. And this complementing the tactical DPS aspect of the ship will lead to some extremely powerful hybrid tactical psi builds. I think the way to describe the ship is she is a hybrid Titan. I like to use this word once in a while. I call a ship a Titan. I'll say that a tank Titan, the support Titan, the DPS Titan. She might be the hybrid Titan. Because in every aspect that she tries to build up, she's better at a hybrid variant than she is a specialized variant. And that I approve of. It's nice to see that kind of thing come along. I'm not sure if I really want to call her the Titan of being hybrid ships, because there are some ships that can utilize a little bit, maybe a little bit better in some spots, but that's not to say she hasn't got extreme potential. However, she has a big flaw that I now really feel I must say before we get into any more stats of the ship. Because of her orientation as a science vessel, because it's a little unusual, she's going to be a great science ship for people who know escort and cruisers relatively well to come to. That's fine. And people who know science ships, you can adapt. And I'm sure you'll be able to adapt and learn the new areas. Hell, that will help you branch away to maybe trying out cruisers and escorts if you wanted to. But this is not a vessel I would recommend to new players, because she's not the atypical in the category. Picking her up and thinking this is what a science ship is normally going to be like is inaccurate. Yes, a fair few of the more recent ships have been doing some of these slight changes, but there's a lot more what you would know as a science vessel than there is of these, and that to me makes me advise away from using this vessel if you are new to the game. It's the only real reason why I'd say maybe give it a miss. Or get a hold of it if you want to, but be prepared that when you try out other ships, they're not really other ships of the same class, are not really going to feel the same kind of ship to fly. I do consider that a weak spot. It is nice to see a change, but at the same time, it's keeping in mind that it is different. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the weapons. You can see them on the screen. Look at the beams. Look at the beams. The beams. Right, what do we know on the beams? Well, first things first that we need to know. Not to do with the stats of the beams, no. At present, the only way to acquire these weapons are with this ship. However, Cryptic and Ark did note when they announced the Janeway class that these weapons will be coming to the game later. So that 100% confirms, well, everyone in the play base knew this was going to happen anyway. Cryptic is nothing if predictable. We are 100% going to be getting a 32nd century Discovery lockbox. That lockbox is most likely going to carry these weapons. The Federation phaser beam for the 32nd century. Okay, fine, fair enough. They're coming later. So at the moment you cannot get these weapons from the Dilithium store. There is no way to purchase them in-game. The only way to get them is with this ship itself. Until they come later in this lockbox. The foreseeable lockbox, should I say. Disappointing, but okay. This also means that you cannot upgrade them. You cannot re-engineer them. Again, disappointing. We'll have to wait before these weapons really show their potential. Because right now, they simply don't. They do not show what their actual potential is. And I am not happy about that. Why? Because these weapons have the potential to be a meta. And a huge thank you to the Discord master for assisting me with this, because he ran some tests before I did. These weapons, they're a little bonus ability, the 2.5% chance of minus 2.5% bridge officer ability recharge time with additional minus 1% per second over 20 seconds. That's quite powerful. So to understand how this works, this will proc, and then for every second that it doesn't proc again, you're still getting, well, for 20 seconds where this weapon does not proc again, you're still getting that minus 1%. However, This weapon can multi-proc. And with effective use, it is very quick and capable to gain Ox to Bat levels of Bridge Officer recharge time reduction. In testing, it was found that on their own, these are very, very effective. They make a great impact on the recharge time. Combined with the right consoles, you will hit, for lack of a better term, global cooldown very quickly, or your personal cooldown cap very quickly. Using Photonic Officer will also help you achieve this. But did you know that they actually can match the meta of Ox to Bat? In testing, it was found quite effectively, actually. Occasionally you fall a little bit short, but these weapons combined with Photonic Officer matched the Ox to Bat build type. I am very impressed because there's a reason why that tends to be a meta to go for. It's an easy way to get very close to the peak cooldown quickly. And to have something else that utilizes your weapon, so utilizing your damage output, is a nice thing to see. Certainly, these are a massive improvement over the Terran-linked phasers and Terran-linked disruptors, which, unfortunately, due to them only doing engineers, science, or tactical, always had a fundamental weak spot of, well, you're doing one, but you're not doing all. Where these weapons, the 32nd Century, do all at once. And for about the same amount. It's great. These are really good. I am so looking forward to them to actually be introduced in the game proper. Okay. Photonic Cannon. The console. Now this I have a few questions for because it surprised me. Anyone who saw my Intel review would know that I thought this was going to be 1, phaser damage, and 2, I expected it to be, well, essentially a lance or a blunt shot, a cannon, a single target weapon. Not a cone kinetic damage. Good arc though, 180 degree arc, cone effect with damage resistance and defense affected. You get plus 100 defense rating for 12 seconds while using this weapon, plus 200 all damage resistance for 12 seconds while using it. It didn't note it, but when it was announced and when we spoke about it in the Intel review, it did note that you had a form of sensor masking as a result. I'm not sure where that is there in the stats because they're not mentioning sensor masking, but perhaps that's what they meant by this defense rating and all damage resistance. Maybe they thought the sensor masking was a bit too much. After 4 seconds, however, then you get a ×1 per second for 8 seconds. What? Up to 3,811 kinetic damage, ignoring shields split between the foes. Split between the foes to a current target and random foe in the forward arc. So it's going to fire towards your current target, and depending on those within the forward arc that it's firing towards, it will affect them as well. So essentially you can actually hit wider than it's saying if your enemy is, say, 180 degrees to your left, and then you fire it, you're gonna get beyond that. You're gonna get the extra 90 degrees. I'm gonna estimate, but we'll test it to see how it looks. I am disappointed that it's kinetic and not phaser damage. But I guess that makes sense since this is a photonic weapon. My only real issue and hike to it though comes, or bigger hike, is that they said it was going to have certain stats and then clearly they haven't included it. I would have liked to have seen the sensor masking stat in there to know how much you are masked from your enemies. The defense rating is great, but you took away something that was going to be a poignant point, and that has disappointed me. However, the passive abilities are still a really good point on this console, with plus 7.5 to auxiliary power settings, giving science ship exactly what it should be having really, and plus 15% to critical severity with exotic damage. EPG builds, go have your fun. I know I will be. So, last thing to talk about. Enhanced cloaking integration. When entering cloak, you gain a plus 100% turn rate and flight speed for 8 seconds. Meaning it's better now to enter cloak when heading into combat. Especially if you're running your I forgot what they're called. It's fine. You know what I'm talking about, most likely. When you're running with your team and you're taking on the Borg and all that such. Doing breach. TFOs! Thank you. There you go. And you restore 4% of maximum hull per second for 8 seconds. Or until exiting cloak. So, essentially, the enhanced cloaking integration when entering cloak is a defensive countermeasure that allows you to quickly recover. The only problem I've got with that is cloaking takes your shields offline. So if you're still coming under fire during that period, there is I'm going to say a 3-second gap there where you're still taking heavy damage and that 4% is not going to be noticed. You might even take more damage. However, while exiting cloak, you gain 11.1% fire cycle haste for energy weapons for 8 seconds. Scaling with auxiliary. You know how I mentioned that the hybrid tactical science builds will be finding an advantage with this ship? Well, this cloak takes that to a whole nother level. This is a trait which really works well for your hybrid tac sci builds. And I really appreciate that. As a support DPS player, I actually feel like this is a little love thrown my way, because this is the sort of thing my kind of build utilizes at the highest advantage. Admittedly, you need a cloaking device to use it. On our way to the test system, I just thought I'd let you see what it looks like when it's at warp for those that are curious and don't want to watch the visual review. Yeah, her warp nacelles raise up like the Voyagers do. A little bit confusing why they would move up and put the Bassard collectors behind the saucer. Also, not entirely sure why they're still disconnected while at warp. I would have thought they would have connected up to the hull. I would have thought the saucer connected to the secondary hull as well. But that's the thing. I have put the Sovereign hull on it, but that's bug in the hangar bay. All fun and games. Let's test it. Whew. Okay, yeah, I may have had to reset that because I forgot something. But don't worry, we are now going to show what this ship can do. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I'm using balanced power settings. Why? Because not everyone can have their weapon power settings at maximum all the time. That's not always go with build. I don't mind changing it from time to time, but hey, I want to show what these weapons are like neutrally, so we are going to see what the weapons are like at a neutral setting. Speaking of a neutral setting, drop that in. Prepare to recharge. Reduce speed. Come on. Let's go for it. That is nice and effective stacking going on there. The weapons are so strong as well. They look nice as well. That's what I like. They've got a nice look to them. I mean, yeah. Look isn't everything. I do wish they'd add a vanity to these things, but hey-ho. Come on, Cryptic. Give us weapons vanity. Right, Gallo class next. Now, this ship is set up primarily for the hybridization of a support DPS. So it's not a full-blown hybrid science tactical DPS vessel, but it is in that general, it's moving in that general ballpark as a support DPS. The difference being, I specialize in the support side of things. DPS is my secondary element. A side tactical DPS obviously focuses on the outgoing DPS damage completely. So they're not really so worried about control abilities and that. Well, they might be if they're going to use those abilities to get what they need. Come here, you little bugger! I say, I think I got him a little bit wrong there. Hello! Took a lot more damage there than I would like to have taken. Yoink! Thank you for the gravitational well. Way more damage than I would like to have taken there, to be honest. Jem'Hadar battleship. Oh, we are going to go have some fun. This build would really augment better if I was riding it as a full-blown support DPS right now. Which means sacrifice shield and engine power to bring auxiliary and weapon power to max. Or you sacrifice engine power. Normally you sacrifice just engine power. Okay, let's go. Wait, why can I still use that console right now? Well, let's see if we can use it. Oh, it did decloak me, that's fine. Oh, it is a cannon then, it just fires a bit weird. Woo! Look at those impacts come in. Stacking is working okay down it. Son of a bitch. Now, you come here. Come to see healing. And this one's just going to be a full-blown attack. Take advantage of my builds as much as possible. Bye. God, you sucked. What do I think? As a science vessel... Oh, yeah. Disclaimer. I pay a little bit of attention to how I normally rank ships. If I sound like I'm being harsher or more critical, this is because I've noticed that I'm a little bit too soft half the time. Okay. So, noting, she's a science vessel. So, naturally, she should be great at anything science related. So let's be a little bit critical on this. How well does she do as a science vessel in the science related departments? Shield tank. Oh, her shield modifier is low. We're gonna see a pattern in some aspects here. She's got great shield tank potential, great regenerative shield potential, and just the whole psi side of it is powerful. The excuse me, the command specialization and the miracle worker specialization will amplify this slightly. But her shield modifier is a little bit low for what I'd taste for where I would say is a good shield tank setting. As a result, that gets knocked down with me. That gets knocked down to 7 out of 10. I'll be nice-ish, because she can augment it, but the shield modifier is a bit too low. As for Hulk Tank, well, Hulk Tank, that's 1.3 on the modifier. So, yeah, she can definitely Hulk Tank, right? No, she does the opposite. She Hulk Tanks by having no engineering abilities. Like, well, she has got engineering capabilities, but with only an ensign engineering bridge officer and only 2 engineering consoles, she again must utilize the command specialization and the miracle worker specialization, along with other specializations that you can have, such as your captain's temporal specialization, temporal operatives, in order to really cling back how well she can tank. And ouchies, she started off strong and ended up weak. So again, 7 out of 10 for tank. She seemed like the type that should be able to tank really well, but the only reason she's getting 7 out of 10 for both of them is the hybrid element, the way that she can pull it back by hybriding the 2 together. And that's the only reason. If she couldn't hybrid them well, I would have gone lower. So that's something to keep in mind. Continuing back to the science side of things, well, along with shield tanking, you also have support rolling. Now, as a support vessel, she's amazing. She's an absolutely amazing support vessel in every single fundamental way. She has enough endurance to maintain herself in the fight. She's got a good loadout to give herself decent firepower and assistance while trying to roll as a support vessel, which is important to a support ship. When it comes to support, it's not all your science capability, it's what you can do to endure and attack as well, because if you're not doing enough damage, well, you're going to get AFK penalties when you're not AFK. So, can she augment herself in the other areas while running a decent support? Yes, she can. Maybe a little bit vulnerable in certain aspects, and that is what's stopping her from getting a 10 out of 10 as a support, and that is the only thing stopping her. But at least she could do her other elements well, while simultaneously supporting her allies either as a drain, a heal, control, whatever you need her to do. She'll do it well. I approve of that, so she gets 9 out of 10. Okay. DPS. We'll continue with the Psi category, because she's a science vessel. Science DPS. Right. Now, fundamentally speaking, for exotic damage output, her draining abilities, and really what she can do science-wise as a Psi DPS vessel, she's really, really strong. Not the most powerful. If you were going to aim at Psi DPS, there are definitely other ships that can do better than her. So that pulls her down a little bit. That pulls her down a little bit with me. Down to 8 out of 10 as a Psi DPS vessel. And you're probably expecting that to be at least a 9. However, tactical DPS, well, normally, with my revised mindset, tactical DPS on a science ship normally isn't very high with me. You'd be lucky if you find that's now breaching the 6 mark. She is annoyingly making me a bit of a weird here, because I'm going to immediately be breaching that. And I'm going to give her 7 out of 10. this is because of her consoles, the fact that she has the potential for higher bridge officer positioning, tactically speaking. The Miracle Worker and Command may complement it. I don't really like Command myself when it comes to DPS, but it can complement it. Her weapon layout assists it really well. Her high maneuverability definitely assists it. She has tactical DPS potential, even as a science ship. If she had one extra weapon, or had the experimental weapon, she wouldn't be 7 out of 10. She'd be 8. Speaking of 8 out of 10, I will now compliment her a little bit further. As we've been stating, she is excellent when it comes to a side DPS, a tactical side DPS build. And because she can do that so damn well, I will score her with that one, with that DPS potential, at 9 out of 10. My overall score for this ship is 8 out of 10. She's a good ship with a lot of potential, but she has a few weaknesses. My recommendations for players that want her: she's excellent for science ships, excellent for people that are used to science ships. You just have to adapt a little bit to her. If you're coming from cruisers to science, this is literally probably the best ship to use coming from cruisers to science. If you are coming from tactical to science, again, this could possibly be... No, scratch that. She's a good ship for you to consider, but there is a Zen-Store ship that is better, and I've already stated her in this video. If you're tactical and wanting to try out science, I recommend that ship first. Also, that would only cost you 20 quid. If you are new to the game though, this is the big one. If you are new to the game, still getting used to the flow of things, still getting used to how the way different ships and different builds work, I would recommend avoiding this ship, at least for a while. If you feel like you're picking up on things really quickly, then maybe consider her. But honestly, avoid her. Wait for some more ships to come out, and you may find a better ship more suitable to you is going to come out down the line than this vessel, which admittedly is more flexible in the science department for those that want to go the science approach. Yeah, I honestly do believe this is a ship for the more experienced player versus those that are new to the game. Having said that, I would love to hear your thoughts, guys, so please in the comment section let me know what you think of this ship, if you like her. Me personally, I personally will give her a pass. But then again, I've got so many ships in the game, I do feel like I can. I do still feel certain other ships are superior to her. In the promo pack that she comes with, there are definitely superior ships to her. The Discovery Miracle Worker Flight Deck Cruiser is the main one I would go to. Or the La Serena. Yeah, I don't like Raiders, and I just recommended a Raider. What the hell? She's a good ship, but please, if you do get a promo pack, are lucky enough to get that, that's a really low drop rate. Less than 4% chance. Please, guys, look through all the ships that you can get there. Do a bit of research into those ships and take your time to pick. Because you definitely want to go for a ship that suits you best. Not what everyone tells you is the best. Pick one that suits you. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you being here to the very end of the video. And can I have a massive thank you and shout out to the people credited on screen right now, because, well, I wouldn't have been able to get this ship without their support. Every donation, Patreon, or Twitch subscriber support that comes into this channel goes towards financing better equipment and, well, getting my hands on these ships to review them. This one took a bit of a longer time to get because I was not risking gambling the donated money in order to possibly not get the ship. So I had to wait to get it in the exchange. You want a good trick? Sell lockbox keys, buy it off the exchange. Yes, you may have to wait like I did, but at least you're not taking the risk. Now with this all being said, guys, hopefully I'll see you next time. If you wish to support the channel along with the guys credited, the links are in the description, along with our social medias, being Twitter, Discord, and Twitch for live streams. And please, guys, remember, live long and prosper, my friends. My brain is melted with this ship, isn't it? I'm so sorry. Ciao for now. That's not warp.